Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the People's Choice Podcast. This is episode 15 of my interview section. I'm here with Mbeyeline, an amazing rapper, all the way from Italy. So thank you for being on my show. Give you a clap. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
So,
Alvin, right?
Yes, you did good. Think of the chipmunk. So I first discovered you. I think you ended up liking one of my videos on Instagram that I put up. So I was like, I'm love reaching out to people. So I started looking you up, and I saw you were a rapper, and I was like, wow, you're really good at this. And like you were just freestyling, like off the dome, just going on, and your flow was amazing. I was like, wow, she must have been doing this for a while, or like she just caught lightning in a bottle.
It's been a while. Like, what do you want to know? The very start, the amount of time I've been doing rap, because it's a long story.
Let's start from where you're from, because I saw that you said you lived in you spoke 6 different languages and lived in a bunch of different places. 3 countries. So yeah, let's start from where you're originally from.
I was born in the Republic of Moldova, which is in Eastern Europe. And then at 18 years old, I moved on my own to New York City. So 2 different universes, coming from a small country in Eastern Europe, moving to like the biggest, metropolitan city in the world. Definitely. And then in 2017, right on my 23rd birthday, I moved to Turin, Italy, where I currently reside.
Awesome. So
that's like my nationality thing where I live. As regarding my music, right? Mm-hmm. It started very young. I had my first radio interview at 2 years old on a kids show in my home country in Moldova. Wow. And I was just, I don't know, I guess a natural born entertainer, because my parents always make fun of me how at around the same time, probably later, like 3-4 years old, I started running towards the hostess of the show we were watching. We were at the circus, to give you a context. And I started running and yelling from the bottom of my lungs, give me my mic, give me my mic. And my parents were like, what's wrong with you? You're a silly kid. And when they grabbed me back, I just was yelling and crying and throwing a fit, because I kept telling that lady to give me my mic back. So my passion for music was very far. Wow. As an artist, though, it started later at 13 years old. That's when I started doing covers and really like getting into it. And at 13 years old, actually, I went on my first tour as a cover artist, along with like 30 other students from my school. And that was really eye-opening, because that was my first time seeing how life is on tour. It was crazy. It was uncomfortable. I did not like it.
What is tour life like? Like what was it like for you? Like, what made it so like eye-opening, or like, whoa, this is not what I expected to be?
Well, I would say my love for music and my love for performing, fortunately, outweighed the conditions that come with a low budget tour. I assume that it's not the same, on a big level, when you have like your own bus and your own room and the staff and all that. But like going on, let's say, a basic tour, that was hard. Like, we were sleeping in the bus and the seats were not even like that reclinable. And so like my knees were hurting, my back was hurting. And with all of that pain, we went to like 7 different countries in 10 days. And every day I had to do my makeup at only 13 years old, right? So like I had 3 outfits to change like 5 minutes, because I like to bring my game on. Like, I like to be, up top.
Of course.
So as a kid, I was always doing my own outfit changes and smiling and putting on a show and singing those songs all the while, like my whole body was hurting and I was tired. I was like, I cannot wait to go home. So I guess I started from the bottom, and I don't think it will ever be as bad again.
Fingers crossed.
I'm pretty sure of that. Like, and you spoke about the rap and the freestyles.
Mm-hmm.
So the cover artist, I was like, okay, that's cool, but I want to be my own person. Like I want to leave my own mark in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I also realized that singing is great, but it's not my thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am an okay singer. I'm not a phenomenal singer, and I'm not going to try to be in an industry where I don't feel that I can perform at the very top, like where I don't have a chance to break in the top 10%. I don't want to be part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to really get into rap music. I mean, it was already there. Growing up, my idols, let's say, right? They were
I was actually going to ask you who was, your
there were 50
inspiration.
Cent, Elliot, Eminem, Sierra, Ice Cube. Who else was back then? Jay-Z and Dame Dash and all those, like it was the 90s, the early 2000s hip
Mm-hmm.
hop phases. So even though I was like all the way in Eastern Europe, I was glued to MTV and to all the hip hop music that was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So my passion was already there. And then I started getting more confident with time. And now, you got the freestyles that you saw on Instagram.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you because with me being in the States and rap is like up here, like it's so big. What is it like over there in Europe and Italy? Is rap like one of the top things, or is it kind of like like how is it over there? And for my viewers that don't really know.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna have to apologize to my Italian people, but at the very moment, the way I see the rap industry in Italy is just a copy pasted version of what Americans were doing 2, 3 years ago. So like
Mhm.
when we had the futures and all those, like the mumble
Yeah.
rap era at its
Yeah.
peak, that's
Mhm.
exactly what's happening right now in Italy, is just in Italian. But we have the same face tattoos, we have the same dyed hair, and like it's the exact same thing, it's just in Italian. So it is what it is. But again, in this country, they'll catch up with what's happening right now in the American industry 2, 3 years from now, when we have singers slash rappers. And I actually like very much what's happening right now.
Awesome. So, 2020 was just a crazy year for a lot of people with the pandemic and COVID and stuff. So, I can only imagine how it really had to impact, your career in the music industry. But I did catch one of your music videos, the one that you did was the quarantine music video that
Street.
you did. Yeah. Wall Street, yeah. So, what inspired you to do that, or more, I guess a better question was, um what was the pandemic like in Italy? Because it was crazy in the States.
Those are very two different big questions.
Yeah. Let's start with small. Okay, let's start with the pandemic in Italy. Then we move on to Wall Street. Wall Street was
um,
big.
the it was bad. It still is pretty bad. They're very restrictive on everything. Last time I checked the stats, about 80% of businesses shut down, most of them completely and permanently. And that's what's really scary, because
Oh
once
wow.
upon a time when I used to go downtown and like see a lot of cafeterias and places and bars and lounges, and like, oh, I don't even know which one to go to. Now it's like, who's left here? Because it's almost like a ghost town.
Hmm.
And we get screened every single where we go. You can't leave the door of your apartment without a mask, because the neighbors will look really crazy at you. So it's rough. It's rough, and that's where I'm very happy that my fan base is not necessarily local. Like I
Hmm.
have fans in all of the countries where I lived. So like back home in my country, back in the States, and people here in Italy too. But my social life is mostly online. So having my career online, now we're going from the first question into the second question.
Uh-huh.
Um, having my fan base online and having the ability to socialize with my people that like what I do in my music online has really been my strongest point during this pandemic. My way of being connected with society. You know, me and you, we're not at the level yet where we have our private jets and we can afford to go to an island of our own to party.
One day.
So one day.
Yes.
So I'm very grateful for, meeting people like you and doing these interviews. And I did Wall Street to entertain myself, but also my fans because they didn't see me in a long time. I was like, well, you know what? To put a professional music video together right now, it's kind of impossible. Let me do something at home, like DIY, and just have fun with it. And that's what I did.
And I really enjoyed the video. Like it was amazing, and really it was just a unique style because it's like you changed the flow of it. Like I think about 3 or 4 times, and I was like, "Whoa, that's really good." I really like that, and I saw that one of your Instagram posts that it actually was streaming like on Spotify pretty well too.
Oh, yes, thank you. The thing is, though, unfortunately, not by my choice, but life happens. I was forced to take a long break from music. So when I came back with Wall Street, my people were like, oh, she's back. So they really went in to support it, to stream it, to like it, share it. And I'm not done with that song yet. I will still shoot a professional music video for it when time is right and this pandemic simmers down.
Yeah, definitely. So, like, with you being in really the music industry since you were like 13, really like hard, what is the most challenging thing from the music industry that you would probably, I guess, like warn like rappers, inspiring rappers, or your fans that look up to you?
um, there's huge challenges generally as an independent artist, and there is enormous challenges as an upcoming rapper. But since I specialize in this genre, we're going to talk about the challenges for upcoming rap artists. I guess because it's become such a mainstream genre, it's like the new rock and roll, right? Back in the 60s and 70s was like rock and roll, even up to the 80s. But now it's rap, like rap stars are the new rock stars,
Mm-hmm.
where the detrimental factor takes place for upcoming artists is that you really have to prove yourself because of how popular it is. So if once doing pop music was the cliche thing, now it's doing rap music because everybody's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're doing the easy thing, I guess we could say. Like that's how people see it. So they don't really take you seriously unless you're undeniable. You have to be undeniable if you want to be different and be taken seriously. If you go on Instagram alone, I think 2 out of 3 are trying to rap.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's a little bit of an overload because there's
Mm-hmm.
no, let's say, standardized entry bar. Like you don't have to pass any test or nothing. So it's up to you as the upcoming artist to do something different that will set you apart from all the, for lack of a better word, from all the wannabes.
Mm-hmm.
So being taken seriously, I would say it's one of the biggest hurdles, especially if you're a female, especially if you're light skinned. I don't like talking about that, but you know it's true.
Yeah. And I mean, because just looking at you, I mean, I'm not a judgmental person or anything, but just looking at you, you wouldn't think that you're a rapper. You would think more like, oh, yeah, she's beautiful. She's probably a model. But, oh, you're welcome. But then when you start rapping, it's like, oh, crap, you're a rapper too? Like, I mean, you could do either one if you wanted to, or both. I mean, you
Well,
you are extremely talented.
I like defying stereotypes. In one of my Instagram posts, I said that most people look at me and they think that I'm on some pop music stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
then when I open my mouth, they're like, "Hold up, okay, you're a rapper,"
Yeah.
and that's okay. That I guess that's my thing. I don't necessarily have to portray the tattoos and the pink hair and all that to be credible. I let my work speak for itself.
That's so true. And speaking of that, because like seeing your videos on Instagram and looking you up on YouTube, I can tell, like, I mean, your storytelling, your flow, I mean, you're like, even your wordplay, I mean, it's all amazing. But what do you feel you're like strongest at? Like,
And like my style, or what do you mean?
like as far, yeah, like your style. Cause I mean, I feel like you could do it all, but like, what was one thing that you knew, like, you like, this is my stuff. If I wanted to just record right then and now, like if I wanted to focus on, if it's flow, wordplay, ad libs, like, what do you think you're strongest at?
I would say, technically wise, relying on an organic progression. And I'm about to explain how that happens.
Yeah, sure.
When I jump in front of the camera and I start rapping, freestyling, spitting bars, if you've noticed my freestyles, they're not pre-recorded. They are not overlaid. They don't have any post-production effects, nothing of the kind. Like all of that processing and cleaning and perfection goes into the studio records, so like the stuff that you hear on Spotify. But my ability to entertain a crowd off the cuff without any additional help from anybody and without any montage, I think that that's where my strong point is. If you've seen my latest freestyle, heck, any of them, it's just me from start to end. I don't do any editing, I don't take any breaks, and you can hear my breath when it goes up and down, and how I breathe again, how I breathe in and out. And I think that's so unique, not to brag, but I think that's unique given that people do a lot of editing these days, like the montage and social media and trying to be entertaining. It's just people do too much. I guess my strength is sticking to what's most important, which is rapping from start to end, no help, no auto-tune. It's just me. This is who I am. As if we're speaking about flow and rhyming and stuff like that, I try to say a lot of meaningful stuff without repeating myself and without using pointless interjections. So if you take any 2 bars from any freestyle or song of mine, they always say something. Like I don't insert stuff just to fill in. I don't like doing any filler sections on my song. Like I really put in effort, and I've worked so many years crafting my ability to rap with substance behind it. Sorry for the long answer.
No, you're perfectly fine. That, and I mean, it does stand out, and I mean, you got a fan for life in me. I mean, I literally just happened to stumble across your video, and I was like, whoa. Like you, and I mean, I messaged you like my exact thought, like you are really talented. Wow. So
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Is there anybody that, like, any artist that you would like love to collab with, like past or present?
A lot of them. I mean, all my idols growing up. I would probably, though, be afraid to collaborate with 50 because he seems like today he might be your friend and tomorrow he might troll you just for views.
Yeah.
So I love his songs. I've always been a fan, but that's one person I would shy away from collaborating with. But everybody else that I mentioned before, I would totally love to have songs with those legends. As for the younger generation, I really like St. John. One of my friends put me on his music, and I was like, he's good, and he can actually sing. He's not just pretending. This guy can sing, and he's an artist. And also a couple of my friend artists, which is Kid Works from the Bronx, Oscar Biggs from Canada, Shilpa Anand from Dubai. Who else? The Non-Talkers from Portugal. Even though they do indie music, I still think we could pull something off. So yeah, there you have it.
That is awesome. I love how you just like shouting out like people from like all over. Like that is amazing.
That's one thing I never planned for, but it just happened. My international factor, and that's another thing that I don't, without really planning for it. Life has taken me to so many places, and I just learned to like go with the wave.
It's all you can do sometimes. Don't go against it, just go with it. So, uh, what can the fans or my fans and your fans and all over whoever watch this, because the power of the internet, can expect from you from 2021 and beyond?
2021. Well, on March 26th, which is in what, 4 days,
Mm-hmm.
my new song called Rocking Red drops. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
It's in the same lane as Wall Street. So, being badass and having the rhythmic pattern to it, I really love it. Um, Also, there's another song planned towards the end of the year because I like to space out my releases. At the present moment, I don't see the point in putting out too much content as an independent artist when you don't have that big of a platform to care about every single release you put out.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're definitely not releasing more than 2 songs in 2021. And if the Italian government will permit in any way or form to have any type of liberty of movement to shoot a music video, I would very much like to do that too.
Awesome. I can't wait. I really hope that happens. And I can't wait for that song to drop because Wall Street got me hooked. So I can only imagine what this one's going to be like. So,
Thank
like
you.
here on the People's Choice podcast, I love to just always stay positive and really want like my viewers to like learn something, especially in these like difficult times. So, like, I'm big on quotes. I love quotes. I mean, I got it tatted on me. I love quotes. I'm a big quote guy. So, what's one of your favorite quotes that you lean on during the good or the bad times? So,
um, I there's only one quote. Okay, you got me unprepared on this question.
I try, you know.
By the way, like for those watching this, not a single question has been discussed in advance. And you should tell your people that because that's so important. In the industry, 90% of interviews, they are pre-discussed, pre-established. So this is truly a live thing happening. And, kudos to you for having the courage to just hit up strangers and be like, yo, you want to be on my podcast?
Thank you.
So yeah, and that's an important selling pitch in the industry. Remember that you're not discussing your interviews with anybody before going live. As for the quotes, I've been following Rob Level for a long time since I was a teenager. He was still like a very independent underground rap artist. Now he's seeing more of the mainstream attention. And he said one time that feelings come and go, but the work must get done. And I live by that. When I have a personal problem or an emotional one, what keeps me rooted and grounded and sane and keeps my self-confidence balanced is if I still put in the work. So no matter what's happening in my life, I always got my schedule. I always do my vocal warm-ups. I always write new bars. I always work out. And those like 3, 4 things come before anything else, before anybody else. So yeah, feelings come and go, but the work must get done.
Love that. That is amazing, and I think that's something that a lot of people, a lot of my audience, and beyond, and future audience, can learn from. That is amazing. So, before we wrap up here, I just want to thank you again for being a part of my interview and being a part of the People's Choice podcast. Is there anyone you want to shout out or any message to your fans?
Well, first and foremost, thanks to you, Alvin, for having me, for allowing me to speak. This is my first interview in a long time. So this was a tremendous pleasure. And your questions were good. You've allowed me to speak. You did not try to manipulate my answers. You got it going for you. I'll tell you that much. I've done a lot of interviews in the past, and you definitely have the potential to develop this into a big thing.
Thank you.
Um,
That means a lot. It
very
really
much
does.
welcome. As for shout outs, I mean, every single artist that's ever trusted me to review their songs on Blue Rhymes Entertainment, because that's like another half of what I do. So Blue Rhymes with a Z instead of an S, bluerhymes.com, like that's like my business side. That's what I do. And I occupy my time a lot with. So to everybody that's ever trusted me to review their songs there, thank you. Y'all are the best and you know that.
Thank you. That is amazing. Thank you for the amazing interview. I wish you nothing but much success, much love. Let's say you got a fan for life. I can't wait. You said March 26th, your new song will drop.
Yes.
I cannot wait. Thank you again for being a part of the People's Choice podcast. And just have a great day. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. And hi to everybody from North Carolina watching this and to everybody from this side of the world tuning in as well.
Thank you.